How's it going, folks? Alongside TJ Calkins, Jay Sannon here with ATS, getting you ready for UFC 274, of course, headlined by Dumont and Justin Gaethje. TJ, we will get your thoughts on that fight in just a little bit. Before that, want to get to some other fights on the card. You have a total of 5 bets on the card, and we will start with Blagoy Ivanov taking on Marcos Rosario de Lima. Ivanov, a minus 150 favorite in this fight. TJ, I want to get your thoughts on this one to start us off.
Yeah, so this fight sets up really well for Blagoy Ivanov. Before we even dive into this fight, we have 15 fights on the card. With that many, we'll probably lose one at weigh-ins. But man, banger main event, co-main event, even Ferguson and Chandler. It's going to be fun. But okay, back to Ivanov. What we're looking at here is a Sambo fighter taking on a guy who is kind of moved up to heavyweight. He was a big light heavyweight. And Rosario de Lima does have power. I mean, most everyone that's decent in the heavyweight division does. Ivanov, he really doesn't get a lot of respect. He's only 2-3 in the promotion, but he has not gotten those early stage UFC matchups with the lower level heavyweights. His matchups have looked like Dos Santos, Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Augusto Sakai, and I'm missing one more that I'm not placing off the top of my head. But he's had 5 decisions with these guys, and especially fighting Tuivasa and Derek Lewis, and not having those fights inside the distance. We're talking about a super durable fighter here. And now on the other side, Rosario de Lima, if he isn't able to score a knockout, if he gets taken down, if he gets put on his back, he gets absolutely stuck there. He has 5 UFC losses, all of which I believe have been submissions. So once he gets put on his back, he stays there and the fight generally ends there. And those also coincide with every fight he's been taken down. Now, we didn't see Ivanov use his wrestling in his first 2 UFC fights, but he did. He's gotten at least 1 takedown in the last 3. And this is a fight where he can score those takedowns. And once he gets it down, I think he ends it. So while that minus 150 price tag is attractive, I like it. I think he's really, really live for a floor finish here. And this is going to be my aggressive play on the card. I'm going to take the plus 200 ITD line on Ivanov.
TJ, next up, what do you think of Norma Dumont taking on Macy Chason? Dumont, a minus 225 favorite heading into this bout.
Yeah, I think she's a big favorite, and rightfully so. She probably Dumont should be wider. So Chason has not fought at featherweight since the Ultimate Fighter 28, which she won. She beat Penny Kianzad in that finale. So she's back up to featherweight, and she's very, very lean. And I'm trying to look for the right word, but she's something of a stick figure, especially in comparison to Dumont. Dumont's going to be the thicker, stronger fighter, and it's going to show. Now, Chason, she's got good striking. She's a little bit dangerous, and she has good knees in the clinch. But the clinch is where Dumont's going to own this fight. She's going to be able to bully her. She's going to be much stronger. We've seen Dumont absolutely control the pace of fights and where fights take place, like the Aspen Ladd fight, absolutely case in point. So I think we're going to see a lot of clinch control. I think Dumont is going to work harder for takedowns in this fight, especially against Lena Landsberg. We saw Macy get just absolutely stuck on her back. And if that happens with Dumont, she's gonna roll. Either way, she's gonna do enough to win with the grappling realm, whether it be clinch or on the floor. I'm taking Dumont flat minus 225.
Now, TJ, Chaos Williams takes on Randy Brown at 170 pounds. Slight favorite is Williams at minus 125. Who do you think comes out on top here?
Yeah, I like Chaos Williams a lot in this fight. Randy Brown, every time he gets a step up in competition, he loses. The 5 fighters he's beaten in the UFC, I think Chaos Williams would be a fairly sizable favorite over all of them, but he would at least be favored against all of them. So we're looking at Chaos has big power. We've seen him starch guys. We saw him starch Abdul Razak Al Hassan. We saw him knock out Miguel Baeza late in the fight. So he's beating guys that are absolutely quality opponents and better than Randy Brown. Now, Randy Brown's going to be a little bit longer. He's used to being the taller, longer fighter at 6'3". He'll have 3 inches of reach here, but he's only going to have 1 inch, 3 inches of height, but he's only going to have 1 inch of reach. And while he might want to try to stay on the outside, I just don't see it happening. I think Chaos is going to rip his legs. I think he's going to force his way into the pocket, and the power, I think, is going to win the day. And even if Randy Brown's chin holds up here, we've seen Chaos put on a good steady pace for 3 full rounds, and he will land the more damaging shots. So with the plus 160 ITD line, I like to keep the decision win in play here. So I like Chaos flat minus 125.
Now, TJ, former Fight Milk ambassador Cowboy Cerrone, he takes on Joe Lauzon next, and Cowboy Cerrone a minus 180 favorite in this fight. Do you think he lives up to that billing and gets the W here?
Yeah, I do. But man, what a fight. 31 years combined UFC, WEC experience between these two guys. I think we have 30 some finish wins combined between the two of them. It's it's a lot of fun. And honestly, with how long they've both been around and how long they kind of hovered and, not at the very top of the lightweight division, but, in the rankings, it's surprising that they never fought before. So, now maybe at the twilights of their careers, we'll get something of a fun fight, even if it's not the marquee version of each one. So we have two very complete fighters here, two great grapplers, decent wrestlers. I'd say Cowboy's a slightly better wrestler, and Lauzon's got slightly better BJJ, ever so slight. Uh, I don't think that's going to scare Cowboy off from shooting takedowns if he wants to, but the path of least resistance here for Cowboy is going to be the stand-up. His volume is going to be so much higher. He averages 2 significant strikes more per minute than Lauzon does. We've seen Lauzon not put out any real volume in any recent fights. He's been off for 2.5 years. He's knocked out in 2 of his last 3. I think a lot of things are working against Lauzon here. So I think Lauzon is going to need a finish early. I don't think he really has any prayer to decision win here if it comes to that. I think the volume is going to be so heavily on the Cowboy side, and it's just going to progressively run away from him. The ITD line in this fight was definitely over minus 200. I think a decision is a lot more likely than that. But in any event, I like Cowboy to win this fight minus 180.
And TJ, now it is time to get your thoughts on the main event. Charles Oliveira taking on Justin Gaethje. Fireworks expected. The fight minus 500 to end inside the distance. Who do you think wins the fight? How and why?
We just talked about Joe Lauzon, and he was asked about Justin Gaethje at a press conference yesterday. And his quote was, "Man, that guy will light himself on fire just to burn you a little bit." And he kept saying, "Tell me I'm wrong." And, it's hard to say he is. I mean, there's only a little bit of sensationalism there. Gaethje has no fear whatsoever. He will come in and take shots to give him. He has huge power at 155. He has massive leg kicks. And I think those are going to play a huge factor in this fight. Oliveira, obviously, he is one of, if not the best BJJ players in the UFC, not just the lightweight division. So if this fight hits the mat and stays on the mat, that's going to be a huge boon for Dumont. So he'll have a good chance to end the fight there. Now, I said stays on the mat because that's a huge thing. Gaethje, he will not accept the takedowns. We saw Chandler get him down 1 time on 6 attempts, but 3 seconds top control time for Chandler. So, Gaethje, he doesn't accept it. He gets right back to his feet. And now Dumont in the striking, we saw him rocked and hurt terribly, just an inch from being finished by Chandler, knocked down and hurt by Poirier. Now we've got Gaethje, who's got even bigger bombs in those hands. So this fight, while I love Dumont as a fighter, I think he's a fantastic story. I'm so happy he became the champion. I think the reign ends here. We're going to see Gaethje come in. We're going to see him strike the legs, and we're going to see him ultimately right hand put Dumont out and new champion Justin Gaethje.
TJ, I just hope everybody has fun out there. That's my wish for this card. It's going to be a great one. TJ Calkins, thank you for your expertise on this card. Folks, for more from TJ on these fights, including some thoughts on the Thug Rose Carla Esparza matchup, you don't want to miss that. Go to ATS.io to get all that from TJ and a whole lot more. Until next time, TJ Calkins, Jay San, and saying see you next time. Good luck on all those UFC 274 bets.